All right, thank you so much, Govind. I should say, I must begin by saying thank you for Legacy chapter, for starting this Learn with Legacy. When you called me last week, I was wondering whether I can do this. Anyway, negotiation is a very pet project to me, or a pet subject to me, because I believe that, in life you got to negotiate. If how many of you are married here? So you had some experience in negotiation. Yes or yes, isn't it? Yeah. So there you see. And if you survived your marriage, then you're pretty good at negotiation. I've been married for 27 years now, and I think I'm doing okay. Okay, I've still not been shown the door, so I think I'm doing quite okay in my negotiation. Jokes apart, I think what I'm going to help you is that negotiation is not just for helping you work with clients, but also in how you can get very good vendors and also work with relationships. That's why I said negotiation can be for all that. I'd like to start off this session with a small little story for all of you. All of you like stories? Okay. This is a story which happened to me, but it happened almost to any one of you. Back in the days before the lockdown happened, I was driving my car, and and I got stuck in one of Bangalore's famous traffic lights. BATNA members, not the traffic lights that you're thinking of, but the actual signal lights which you see with the red light, orange light, and the green light. Okay. So as I was approaching it was orange. I thought I'll speed, but before I could reach it, it became a red light, and it shows 120 seconds. I said, oh my God, I got to be standing here for 120 seconds in my car. So I said, okay, let me sit there and wait for the signal to go. But then as I was sitting there, it was I heard a knock on my window, in the driver's side window. I saw who was that. I saw it was a small boy, and then a young fellow like this, okay, this guy. And I said, okay, maybe you want something. I said, yes, what do you want? He showed me a nice pair. He showed me a pair of goggles. He said, sir, please buy goggles. Please buy goggles. I said, no, I'm not interested, yeah, because I already have goggles. I told him I already have goggles. That day I was not wearing. Sir, buy, sir, buy, sir, buy, sir. I said, okay, because I had too much time to kill, 120 seconds, no? By which time 10, 15 seconds were over. So I asked him, how much are the goggles? So he said, sir, it's about 750 rupees. I said, too much, I'm not interested. And I got back to, waiting for it. He said, no, sir, please buy, sir, please buy, sir. I said, too much, 750 rupees. No, you tell me, sir, how much you want? I said, see, I have goggles here. You're not wearing, no, sir. No, I kept it at home. I forgot it, but I have goggles. I don't need it. Okay. So I don't need the goggles. Okay. So what happened was, he said, he kept pestering me. I said, listen, I'm not interested here. I already have it. About 15, 20 seconds became over. Okay. Then what happened was, then he said, sir, then I thought, okay, let to get him away. I said, okay, kitne mein dega? He said, sir, 750 rupees. I said, no, then I said, it's too much for it. You tell me, sir, how much you want? Yes. I wanted to actually push him away. So I told him, see, I want it for 150 rupees. He said, sir, 150 rupees, sir. What you're saying, sir? 750 rupees somewhere, 150 rupees nowhere. It is too much, sir. By now, about 35, 40 seconds, we're over. Okay. I said, listen, yaar, I don't want it. I told you, no, but if you want to give me, give that 150 rupees. But I'm really not interested. Too many goggles at home. If I go home with more goggles, I'll be shooted. I'll be, they'll shout at me. I said, okay. He said, no, sir, come on, I'll be, I'm pretty much. Okay, sir, I'll give you 600 rupees, sir. No problem, sir. For you. I said, no, 600 rupees too much, sir. I'm not really interested. I got too many goggles. Okay, I said, no, sir, please buy, sir. Please buy, sir. I've been standing here from the morning, sir. I've not had my, what do you call the first sale of the day? It's called a boni. Boni, sir. I didn't get my boni, sir. Please, sir. Okay, sir. For you, I'll give you, sir, 500 rupees, sir. I said, yeah, I don't want it, yeah. I don't want this. So it's an original goggles. So see, sir, he also showed me one fake looking, Ray-Ban goggles cover. In fact, even the, that small little paper which you have, I mean, what's that thing? The small little cloth like this you have for the things, that also had Ray-Ban on it. I said, all this can be duplicated, yeah. He said, no, sir, original, sir, that. Okay, sir. I tell you, sir, I've never done this before because I want my boni. 400 rupees, sir. Ashtay, sir. Last chance. I said, I'm not interested, yaar. If you want to give it me for 150 rupees. So I used to keep telling him, see, I'm not really interested because I already have goggles. If you want to give me for 150 rupees. Already more than a minute has passed now. More than a minute has passed. And it's really desperate saying, sir, I got 2 wives and 4 children. Sorry, 1 wife and 3 children. I need the money, sir. Please help me. Please help me, you're saying. Literally begging at me. I said, listen, yaar, I don't want it, yaar. I don't want it. I already have a lot of goggles, but still, I don't think it's original goggles. But still, if you're saying, I don't mind, but I'll buy for 150. I was sticking to my 150 price only all the time. Then he was trying to say, okay, let me see what I can do and all. He was kept on pushing me, and he said, no, I want it more and all that. Then as time kept ticking by, there were about 20 seconds left or 30 seconds left. And they said, sir, okay, sir, last chance, 300 rupees is what he said. I said, listen, I really don't want to buy, but if you can give me 150 rupees. Then kept pushing me. Last 10 seconds were left. He said, sir, at least give it me for 200 rupees, sir. I've been begging you for such a long time. I said, listen, boss, I don't need it. But since you're saying it, I don't mind, but 150 rupees. Last 5 seconds, and then it was becoming orange. I changed my gears, because we have to be ready, isn't it? From red, I put it to first gear, and he says, okay, sir, 150 rupees. But the guys behind me are honking loudly. So what I did, I went away and then I went and parked on the other side of the road to the side. Okay, because I thought anyway I've talked to him a long time. He came and he said, okay, sir, 150 rupees. He said, sir, 10 rupees jasti aakpadi, sir. I said, listen, I'm not interested. Okay, sir, fine, take it for 150, and he gave me 150. So what happened was, in about 120 seconds, a negotiation happened between a seller and a buyer. So my question for all of you is this, okay? And about the goals. Who do you think won the negotiation? You can type in the chat box if you want. Do you think the seller won the negotiation or the buyer won the negotiation? What do you think? Quickly tell me. Let me see. Okay, I wish I could have put a poll now, but tell me. So some people saying buyer, some people saying seller. I wish you could count it, Govind, but people saying seller. Some people saying buyer. Okay, seller, buyer, both. Okay, wow, that's the interesting thing. Both, somebody said.
Buyer did not negotiate only.
Okay, so who? The buyer did not negotiate, you're saying, Kishore?
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. Fine, I did negotiate, in fact, if you saw. Right, so what I'll do is that I will give you the answer, the correct answer at the end of the session. So that means you got to stay alive and, attention to me by the end of the session. We'll come back to this, okay? Having said that, I want to ask you, what's your negotiation goal? If somebody can unmute and tell me, when you go for a negotiation to speak to a customer or any kind of negotiation, what is your goal? Why don't one of you, I like listening to people. So why don't you maybe, open your mic and tell me what's your negotiation goal. Some of you can type it also, but what's your goal when you're going to negotiate with somebody?
To strike a deal.
You want to sign the deal? Fantastic. Okay, what kind of a deal you want to sign?
Closing the deal with the profit.
Closing deal with profit. Fantastic. Yes. Anybody else?
Make it win-win for both.
Make it win-win for both. That's interesting. Anybody else? What's your goal for a negotiation?
I read from chat box, get a good discount. The purpose
Get a good discount. Okay, when you're buying or something.
The purpose has to be met.
The purpose of the meat has to be met. Whatever the purpose is, sell value, get a good discount. Great. Win-win, all these things. Now
I have to come out successful.
Okay, I want to come
at the end of the negotiation.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Okay, good. That's great. I think that was Bharti who said that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Bharti. So if you look at it, I'm going to give you two options here. One is your goal to get the best deal or to get a fair deal? What do you think? Best deal or fair deal? And there's a difference between both, right? Not just the spelling. As I think
you have to get a fair deal. Fair deal.
You're just saying that just to be nice to me here. I know. Okay. But, really speaking, when you go out there, somebody said, I want to get the best discount. I want to work out. I want to get on top. What did Bharti just said now? Bharti, you said before, you said, I want to
come out successful.
I want to come out successful that way. Let's look at this. More often than not, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you go into negotiation, here's you and here's the other party, right? And let's say if it's two people negotiation, you're thinking in your mind, how can I get the best deal, right? Yes, I want the best deal. Obviously, Jitendra also said the same thing. I want the best deal. What do you think the other party is also thinking? Here is you. What do you think the other party is also thinking?
Best deal. You also want the same.
You also want the best deal.
So two people coming together saying, I want the best deal. I want the best deal. What do you think will happen?
It will come into a fair deal.
Maybe not. Very rare. You tell me more often than not. When you are pushing and wanting to get the best deal, the other person also pushing. Yes. Let's look at reality here. I'm talking reality. I don't want to tell you from some theoretical thing because I have spent a lot of my time not just learning negotiation from some of the best in the world, but actually using it in my life as a trainer and coach, as well as, teaching a lot of other people on negotiation. So I'll tell you, more often than not, when two people come saying, I want the best deal, you're concerned about what? You're concerned about the other party or you're concerned about yourself? Tell me. Honestly, tell me.
Myself.
Yourself. 80 to 90% of the time you're concerned about yourself. What do you think the other party is concerned about? Himself or herself? So when two people come here, it's very natural for people to think that I want the best deal. Most of the time what happens, it becomes a no deal. Not a fair deal, no deal. Unless somebody gives up or when you find that you're negotiating with somebody who's much more stronger than you, or when you feel that it's a big party and you want the deal and all that. Think of that large client that you've been always wanting to get. Okay. Do you think you got the best deal? No, you didn't even get a fair deal. That big client were able to arm twist you and get a best deal or for themselves. They said, be happy that we are giving you the business here. And then they said, yes, they said they'll give payment in 2 months time, but it became maybe for some of you 2 years time or 6 months time. That's not a fair deal. That's not even a best deal. It's a best deal for them, but not at all for you. I don't want to be in such negotiations. And let me tell you, I've negotiated a company like Honeywell and, had fair deals. I've negotiated company like Indian Oil Corporation and big companies and continue to get fair deals and all that. Okay. So let me tell you how this works. Now, think about it. When you are focused only about, I want the best deal, the other person also will be thinking the same thing. I want the best deal. So that's not usually the best idea to go for a negotiation. Okay. The better idea, in a larger program, I told you more detail, but here I'll tell you, what the best thing is you can say, listen, you can tell the other person, listen, I know you're coming with a lot of ideas to negotiate and all that, and you want something to happen to you. Likewise, I've also put my stakes in negotiation. I'd like to make sure that whatever we say, that you say or me, can we both keep one thing in mind, that whatever we say, can it be beneficial for us and also the other party? Can we have this ground rule before we negotiate? This is exactly what I tell most of my clients, whether they're large clients or smaller clients. I tell them, I'm going to make sure that whenever I'm speaking to you, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be looking at not only what I need, but also your considerations. So everything that I say and do will keep both of our needs in mind. Are you okay if I keep both of our needs in mind? I'll ask the customer. What do you think my customer or the other person will say when I tell them that? What would you say if I told you that when I come to negotiate?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Then I'll say, great. Would you also be willing to do that for me in this negotiation? I'll ask you that question. What will you say? Tell me, what would you say?
Yes again.
Good. If you say yes, I'll say, thank you. If you say, I'll think about it, I'll say, fine, think about it and I'll come back to negotiate with you later. And I'll not want to negotiate at all. Is that a good thing or not? I'll walk away from that negotiation. When somebody says, no, I'm not bothered what you want, I only am bothered what I want. Do you think, regardless of how big the deal is, do you think it's good for you to continue that negotiation? Because what happens that when the other party is thinking of getting the best deal for themselves and they look at a small deal for you, you should have the courage to walk away. And the courage to walk away will only come when you have a lot of, I'll tell you of another word called BATNA, and I'll tell you that in a moment from now. When you don't have that, you'll be stuck and fixated to this deal only. Moving on. So now comes the thing is, what really is negotiation? You might be thinking, okay, can I have a definition or a description of negotiation? So let me give you an idea what, in my opinion, I felt was the best, possibly the most comprehensive description of what I feel negotiation is. Negotiation is actually a process of resolving conflict between two or more parties, whereby both or all the parties modify their demands to achieve what you can call as a mutually acceptable situation. I got this from a fantastic book written by Gavin Kennedy. Maybe you can look that book up. I think it's called The Perfect Negotiator. Okay. So now when you see this sentence, I want you to read this sentence again to yourself and tell me what parts of this sentence, this definition as you may want to call it, catches your attention. Can some of you unmute into me? What are some key phrases or words that are catching your attention?
Resolving conflict.
Brilliant. Resolving conflict. Okay. What else? What else?
It's a mutually acceptable situation.
Yes, that's what we want to happen. That's the outcome or the goal. Fantastic. What else?
Modify the demands.
Win-win.
Brilliant. Modify demand. That means if you go with a stuck mindset, a lot of people, I have another quick questionnaire which I do in my longer program where I say, what are some important traits that negotiators need? Okay. One trait which is actually counterproductive, meaning not useful when you negotiate, is the trait of perfectionism. Okay. Now, what's a perfectionist? A perfectionist is somebody saying, my way or the highway. I want it to be done exactly this way. More often than not, I don't know if perfectionism is good in other areas of life, but a quick tip for you, if you go with a perfectionist mindset to a negotiation situation, you most likely will not get win-win negotiations. More of your negotiation will have where the other person or you will feel bad and you'll walk out without closing deals. Write it down if you want. So perfectionism is not really a good idea when you want to go and negotiate with people. Okay, good. Now understand that many of you missed the first word. What is this word after the word A? It's a process. That means negotiations don't always happen when you're sitting for the final negotiation deal. Many people say, sir, I've given my proposal all that. They're calling me for negotiations. Wrong. In fact, negotiations actually started the moment they send you a RFQ or a quotation. That's when negotiation started. The minute I got a requirement or an inquiry, what I do is I go and look at them on their website. That's part of my negotiation strategy. I look at my client. I study my customer. Okay. That's part of my negotiation strategy. Are you doing that? I'm sure many of you are doing that, and all through the process of my first meeting and the second meeting, my proposal, and then this final discussion, everything is a process. So if you manage from the beginning to the end, then you are making sure that you have a fantastic negotiation. Don't just leave it to the end. It's like trying to say, I'll be like Dhoni and hit a last ball 6. That's not a good way to do it. You got to start, hitting, you got to start manage the whole process. Okay. As you say, it's a process of resolving conflict. Now, you can only resolve a conflict when both of you are the mindset of, saying that fair deal. If I say, I want the best deal, I don't care what you want, is that creating conflict or resolving conflict? What do you guys think? When
Creating
I say, I want
conflict.
So always say, am I creating conflict or resolving conflict? And when I go to negotiation, when I find that the other party is not budging and they're saying, listen, I want the best deal, I don't care what you want. Okay, then I'd say, then ask myself, do I really need this deal? Do I really want to do this deal? Okay, do I have something else? Okay, and I decide whether I will go forward or not. I mean, if I go forward and there's very few requisites, I'll put my own caveats or I put my own conditions, and only then I go forward. Okay, and that's been helping me a lot. Okay, modifying demands. What does that mean? Modifying your demand. What does that mean? Any idea?
Be flexible.
Being flexible, extremely important, because if you keep the final goal of achieving a mutually acceptable situation, or in other words, win-win, then you must be able to be flexible. Many times people feel flexibility is a kind of a weakness in negotiation. I'll tell you, there's, when you attend a full program, you'll understand why flexibility is an extremely important strength when you negotiate with people. Moving on, I'll tell you there are 3 types of negotiations. Okay, give me a buzz and tell me if you in the chat box you are finding this interesting, or tell me, Amrut, please shut up and stop talking because this is all bullshit. Okay, tell me, are you enjoying this or are you enjoying this? Are you finding it useful or are you finding it useful? I'm not giving you a choice. You see, I'm telling you useful or useful, interesting or interesting. Okay, right, awesome, fantastic. So let's move on. So if you see, typically when out in the world, when you go out and meet people, there are 3 types of negotiations that you do. The first is what you can call as a distributive negotiation. Okay. The second is what you call as the integrative style of a negotiation. Can you see it on the slide that I'm showing to you guys? Okay, it's an integrative style of negotiation. And the third style, what you call a principled negotiation, one that very few people actually achieve, doing. They're focused on that. So distributive, integrative, and principled negotiation. Let me help you and give you a quick idea of what these things are by an example. Now, okay, let's look at distributive negotiation. It's called distributive. It distributes the energy. Or also called in simple language a win-lose negotiation or a competitive negotiation. Let me give you an example. This might happen to many of you. One of the sometime back, I was not driving my car. I had to go to a place, and I went to the place by a cab or something like that. And as I returned, I finished that meeting. Then I had to come out. Okay, this was in Indranagar Club. I remember 4 years back. I walked out of the club and I saw it was heavy rain. I was looking at that time I did not have Ola or something with me, many years back. So I saw an auto guy there. So I said, Auto, I want to go near RT Nagar. I know that the fare for that would be about 75 rupees. You know what he said? He said 250 rupees. I said, what? Yeah, 250 rupees is too much for me. He said, sorry, sir, rain, male barta hai, 250 rupees. I said, come on, yeah, do something. He said, nothing doing. You want it, you take it for 250 rupees. Others no. Now tell me, was he interested to, kind of budge and do that? No, he was not. Okay. This is called a win-lose negotiation. He is interested in his own thing. Okay. That's called the win-lose negotiation. Okay. That's one example of win-lose, where the other party is saying, I'm only bothered about myself. And you may be surprised to know that a lot of people, including you and me, sometimes have used this style a lot. And I'll also tell you there are times when you should use this style only. Okay. Okay. Though it may sound not very good, there are a few instances in your life when you should use a win-lose negotiation, where you should consider what you're winning and not bother about the other party winning. Very, very few situations. And after I explain the other 2 styles, you tell me when you should use this and you tell me when you should do that. I'm going to ask you the question. Okay. Coming to the next one, which you call is integrative negotiation. Integration means what? Putting together. Okay. It's a collaborative style of negotiation. One which gives a win-win outcome. Okay. Let me give you an example. Again, I'll give you an auto example. Okay, there was a time when I used to travel to a certain place every day. Let's say, I'm traveling by auto. So what I did was I came to the bus stop and I was waiting for a bus. Let's say you're waiting for a bus and it was already late. So you saw near a bus stop, as you're waiting for the bus, suddenly one auto man came and said, okay, where do you want to go? I said, see, I want to go to this place. And then he said, oh, okay. He said, I'll put the meter. Fine. Okay, fine. Right. So he put the meter, whatever it cost me, 100 rupees or something, it did that. Then after 3-4 days, again, I was standing there. Again, I was late. I saw the same auto person coming there. Same motorway. He said, sir, you want to go to the same place? I said, yes. So what he did, he said, come, sir. Then he took me and he went and then, he did that. He took me to the same place, right? And then after about a few more days, he saw me. And at that time, he said, same place. I said, I want to go to the same place. Then as we reached the destination, I didn't have my purse with me. I said, sorry, boss, I forgot my purse and all that. He said, Paraila, sir, I know where you are now. You stay there now. No problem, sir. Don't worry. Now tell me, why did this auto person do that? Why did he trust me and not give me any, allow me to use this vehicle without paying him anything at all? Any idea?
Building relationship.
Relationship.
Okay.
He was getting recurring revenue.
It's an element of trust that he built.
Yes. Let's say he said, I don't know, sir, you're using my services. I want 100 rupees at any cost. What would you think would have happened? I had to borrow from somebody. I would have given him my watch or something.
And from next time, you wouldn't have gone with him.
The next time I see him, if he comes, I look the other side, right? So for that one, it was like the goose which killed the gold. I mean, killing the goose for golden eggs kind of thing. He was so greedy with the $100 that he lost potential business. Okay. So like he didn't think of the lifetime value of the customer. That's another thing that you got to think about. Lifetime value of a customer. Okay. So that's another LTV as we call it. Okay. So that's another example for you. So distributive, integrative. Now you know the differences. Integrative is where both of you are thinking about how we both can achieve a win-win. So the thing is win-win or no deal. Like I said, I start my negotiation by saying everything I say and do and suggest will be geared towards ensuring that both of us feel happy of the negotiation. Okay. Let us say situation A, I did a distributive negotiation with you. Okay. One of you people here. I negotiated with you in such a way that I won a lot and you didn't win. Okay. You got a bad deal. I got a good deal. You didn't know that. Let's say 3 months later, I call you again for negotiation. Would you want to come and negotiate with me again? Tell me. Would you want to negotiate with me again? Let's say I did an integrated negotiation where I said, okay, I took a little bit more time, understood your needs. Maybe we had a bit of a disagreement to begin with, but then we understood each other's needs. And I said, okay, guys, okay, let's do something where you're happy with it and I'm also happy with it. And we shook our hands to have a deal where both of us are happy about the deal. Let's say an opportunity came for us to negotiate again 3 months later. Would you be interested to negotiate with me?
Yes.
Definitely yes. Definitely yes.
I must tell you that I've been using this in my life because I got clients like BHEL, Honeywell, Internal Corporation, and quite a few individuals, many of whom are sitting in this very room here with me. Many of whom individual entrepreneurs are attending not one, but the second and the third program with me. Big clients like Honeywell and BHEL, sometimes when they talk to me, with me, they just tell me the dates. It's a situation where we don't talk about the rates, we only talk about the dates of my training programs. Wouldn't that be great? And I don't even have to worry about it. I just agree on the date. I look at my calendar. They say, Amrut, this is what you're going to do this date. I said, fine. And I don't even have to worry about it. I send my invoice. My money comes to me at the time when I know it should come to me. Wouldn't that be fantastic for you to have? That's because I behaved in a manner, I showed them that, listen, you are a big company, yes, but I'm equally important. Let's sit, we should sit equally as equals at the negotiation table. And I said that can only be done when you have the mindset of an integrative approach. So quick question to you, in your business, in your life, what is the type of negotiation that usually you, which happens to you? What kind of negotiation do you usually do in your businesses? Integrative, distributive, what do you guys do?
Integrative.
You're telling me what you should do. I know you're trying to be politically correct here. But what happens most of the time, tell me?
Most of the time distributive, sir.
The last time you negotiated with one of your clients, the last time you negotiated with one of your vendors, tell me. Honestly, tell me. We may not do it with our customers because we need our customers. But with our vendors, we tend to arm twist them and push them, isn't it? I've seen that. Right. Many times I use vendors, okay, other trainers whom I want to use. So when I find that my company, which a client has not paid me money at a time, whatever time I've asked my vendor or who I have to pay, I'll say, listen, here's your money for you. Now, by doing that and looking after my vendor, what happens to me? Won't my vendor be very loyal to me? That's exactly what it is, isn't it? And there are some time when I'm not being able to pay on time, the vendor will still do his work for me. So relationship building is extremely important in business, whether it's a business, a vendor, a customer or something. So that's why I said integrative approach is what you should consciously start doing. I'll tell you what happens. All of us, I'll tell you, when you meet a customer or when you are in a negotiation situation, you want to do an integrative approach, but you're forced in that situation and you tend to think distributive. Your actions and behavior become more distributive. You're only thinking about yourself. Correct me if I'm wrong. There might be a few people here, quite a few people might have thought integrative, but I'm saying think about the last few times. You don't need to answer a question, but think about the last few times when you negotiate, isn't it? That's what I would like to say. So is it working and giving you your results? So think about it.
Amrit, if you're only thinking of yourself, normally it does not work.
You're brilliant on the point, Bharti. Yes, absolutely right.
It doesn't work.
Yes. Maybe once in a while for some people it may work, but then they may get some what you can call as small victories. They may win the battle, but not the war, I said. They may get some minor victories, but they lose the big battle. Long-term relationships are never done. It's only fly-by-night business, as we can call it. Moving on. I want to now introduce you to 4 key concepts of negotiation. How much time do I have, Govind? Because I'm going to end in about 7 to 8 minutes. Is that okay?
Absolutely okay, Amrut.
Fantastic. I hope the guys are finding it interesting.
Yes.
Open the chat box and say, yes, it's interesting if you find it's interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you about 4 key concepts, and I might just have time to maybe explain one of those key concepts because of time constraints. The concepts are called as BATNA, the first concept. So you can write it down if you want to. BATNA is short for the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. That's the first thing. The second thing is what we can call as reservation price or reservation price. Did I pronounce the S correctly? I'll ask Nisha about that. Okay. The third thing is called as ZOPA, called as zone of possible agreement. Okay. And the fourth thing is what you can call as value creation through trades. Intelligent negotiators use any and all of these strategies when they're negotiation. And in one negotiation, you might find with a client, at one instance, you might have to use any or all of these things. Sometimes you have to use a ZOPA with a resolution price and all that. Let me come to a BATNA, okay? I'm going to explain this to a bit of perhaps an example. So BATNA was actually developed by two fantastic people called Roger Fisher and William Urey. I must tell you that Fisher and Urey were part of a very large negotiation project called the Harvard Negotiation Project. Harvard University launched a 30-year, thesis or what you can call it, research on negotiation, where Fisher and Urey, observed and researched negotiations across countries, continents, different things, and they created a few books. There's a fantastic book on negotiation called Getting to Yes. Okay, you can write it down. Getting to Yes. Brilliant book on negotiation, under 100 pages. If you want to look at negotiation and you want to learn it, buy this book is what I'm saying. Okay. It's also available on, as an audible book or, soft copy if you want. Okay, good. So coming to this, he says, let's say you walk into a negotiation. Let's say that you do not close the deal. Do you have an alternative if this deal doesn't close? Okay, that's what's called as BATNA. Let me give this to you by way of an example. Let's say that, I'm a person who's come from, I'll give you a simple example, okay? I'm somebody from out of town. Let's say I'm from Delhi or somewhere. I came as a student or something, or I came as a worker. I want to settle in Bangalore, so I'm looking for a house. I don't like PGs and all that. So one of my friends said, hey, you know what? 3 of our friends from the same batchmate from Delhi are all staying in the same house, and the house is about 20,000 rupees rent. We are 3 of us. One of them just vacated. We want a 4th person. Would you be interested? I said, yeah, I'll come and all this. So I went and joined the house. Okay. So how much do you have to pay rent every month? 4 people, 5,000 rupees, as you know. Happy. And they said, see, since we're staying in the house, we all have to take turns in, jadu bartan, we have to clean the dishes and do the cooking and, all those things you have to do. We got a washing machine, so we have to do all those things. I said, okay, fine, yeah. Anyway, it's good. Because I checked up in some place, it was very, very costly. Then after some days, I'm getting very bored of, washing clothes and my turn to sweep and all those things. I was feeling very bored cooking. One day I came tired from work and saying, they said, you got to cook today. I said, oh God, what to do and all that. And we didn't have Swiggy those days, let's say. So I said, okay, I was looking around, I was doing, is it a newspaper? I saw, okay, nice ad about, co-work, was that co-living or what do you call it? Paying guest account. I said, okay, very close by. They said, very good clean room and all those things. I said, let me go to paying guest. I went there. So I said, okay, owner, he said, look at the room, nice room, fantastic, very good. That food was good, vegetarian, because I'm vegetarian, liked it. I said, sir, tell me how much the rent is. He said, 10,000 rupees. I said, 10,000 rupees. Oh my God. I said, sir, can you do something for it? He said, no, 2 people already come and agree for 10,000 rupees, but I like you. You're a handsome young man, so I like your face also. And I'm willing to give you, otherwise I'd ask for 10,000 rupees, for you 10,000 rupees. I said, sir, do a little bit now. He said, no, 9,500 last, but 10,000 rupees. Now tell me, should I take this house or this PG or not? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should I take it?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, you should.
Oh,
Yes.
Some people say yes. Okay. Now tell me, do I have an alternative? If I don't take this, do I have another alternative?
Yes, I can stay where
What's
I
my
am.
alternative? I can also go back. I can go back and stay in the house. I have an alternative, right?
Yeah, all 4 you can hire a cook.
Yeah, we can do something or whatever. That increase the rate of our cooking or whatever. Yeah, those are things. But I already have an alternative. So my BATNA is what my house, which I'm staying with my friends. That's my BATNA. I have a BATNA which is pretty strong. Okay. So I said, no, sir, let me think about it. And I don't go to him. Now, a few months later, what happens? One of the persons quits. And we are not in my house, in the room where 4 of us are staying in the house. No, one person quits. Now, what is the rent portion for me? And then the owner said, I'm increasing the rent by 1,000 rupees to 21,000 rupees. So what's my rent?
7,000.
7,000 rupees. Okay. Now tell me, I go to the rent. Now tell me, when I go there, again he's saying about 9,500 or something. Now my BATNA, what's my alternative? What's my alternative? Has my BATNA, my alternative, if I cannot, has it become strong or weak? What do you think? My BATNA is my alternative if I cannot go and close it. It's become weaker. Okay. Now, thing that you got to think about is that, do you have a BATNA before you go for negotiation? Meaning, when you're negotiating a client, do you have, supposing this deal doesn't come through, do you have an alternative if this deal doesn't come through? That's called as a BATNA. Okay. Now let's say I'll continue the story. Now, before we could find a 4th person, the 3rd person was left and 2 of us were left holding the house. And we had to pay how much? 10,000 rupees, 10,500 each. Now, what happened to my BATNA? Terrible.
Terrible.
Okay. Now tell me, that apartment, does it look good, or I mean that paying guest, does it look better than this thing? Yes or yes?
100%.
100%. Suddenly my BATNA was very bad. It became a VATNA. Okay, Vat lag gaya BATNA ke liye. That it became worst alternative to negotiability. Okay. Some of you Hindi will say agree, say VATNA. Okay. So it became from BATNA, it became VATNA. And then I had to go and do a negotiation again. Okay. Now let me tell you, supposing that owner knew that I had these problems, will it be good for me or not? Will it be good for him or will it be good for me?
It will
For
be
him
good for
only.
him.
It'll be bad for me, isn't it? So one question I want to ask you, when you go for a negotiation, two questions. Do you think you must identify the BATNA of the other party? What do you think? Should you identify the other party's BATNA?
Yes.
Yes.
Does he have a BATNA at all? How strong is a BATNA? You should identify that. Yes or no? Does the other person, let's say the other person has no alternative, then he'll close the deal at any cost with you, isn't it? Suppose the other person got an alternative, is not very good. He will close the deal with you with some negotiation. If you are, so that way. Second question. So one is you need to identify the other party's BATNA before you start negotiation. First point. Second point I want to ask you, do you think you must reveal your BATNA to the other party when you go for a negotiation?
No.
Not really, unless it's somebody whom you know and it's a great deal. So ideally, when you go in for the first negotiation, make sure that your BATNA is not revealed to the other person. Okay, when you know that the trust is not on the table, don't do that. Okay, right? So that's what we are talking about. Okay, so I hope you understood what BATNA is. Okay, the other terms maybe I'll be able to explain maybe in another session. Okay, so if you look at it, that's what I have for you. And typically, some consideration you got to look at is that when I do a full program, I tell people, I teach them about how you can learn influencing. How do you influence the other party using influencing styles? How do you identify if the influencing style that you're using is good or not so good? Okay. What are the other things? What does ZOPA mean? What does value creation mean? What does reservation price mean? How do I as an entrepreneur use it with my vendors or my clients? Why do I need to be assertive? Sometimes I might have a customer who's very pushy. So should I be aggressive with him or should I be assertive? And there's difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. I'm going to help you learn about that in a larger program. You can learn about your assertiveness through a questionnaire which I have to you. And how to use things, like three very important things. I call them as the tip of the negotiation, called as time. How do you use time? How do you use information? And how do you use power? These are three things that you got to use when you're doing a negotiation. Okay. So those are something I tell you. How do you plan for very important negotiations? Okay. You can use chat. You can, you have my numbers there. You can always send me, you have my email ID and my number there. You can actually, buzz me or message me immediately now if you think you would like to participate in my big negotiation program. Okay. How do you handle tough negotiators? Now, what we call as hardball negotiators, who are very pushy and pushy and pushy, and they don't listen to anything that you want them to say. So those are something that I'm going to help you to learn when you attend my impactful negotiation program. I've been doing negotiation for past, I'd say about almost 22 years now, teaching people of all kinds of life. How do you handle conflicts and things like that? Oh, before I forget, I should say, some of you might be thinking, what is the answer of that first story I told you, right? Let me tell you the correct answer. Who won, you're asking? I'll tell you who lost. The seller lost. Now, I was the buyer, the seller lost. I'll tell you why the seller lost. Do you want to know why the seller lost? Tell me if you want to know.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll tell you three things you got to look at when you look at negotiation. What are the three things I told you? In the previous slide I told you. I call it as a tip.
Yeah. Time, information, and power.
Yeah, good. So time, information, power. Okay, so what does this mean? Now, when you go for a negotiation, you got to make sure that you have all the time in the world. You got adequate time. Imagine, I'll tell you one thing. Let us say you have very, very little time for a negotiation. Will you negotiate properly or very badly?
Very badly.
Very badly.
Very, very badly. So now tell me, in this particular negotiation, who was under time pressure to close the deal? The seller or the
seller.
buyer? Seller. Isn't it? He had to sell it within that 120 seconds. Did I have to buy it within 120 seconds? Did I have to buy it? No, I told you I already have goggles. So I knew that I didn't have to buy it. Now tell me, did I use a distributive style or an integrative style with this person?
Distributive style.
Tell me why I used the distributive style. Was I interested in building relationship with him? And
No.
No, I was not interested in building long-term relationship. Will I ever meet that person again? Very, very less. Do I know it's really? Do I really know it's a real Ray-Ban or something? I don't know.
No.
Is 100 rupees worth taking the chance?
Yes.
Yes, I can't buy even petrol for $100 today, isn't it? Even if it lasts for 1 week or 10 days, then I chuck it, it breaks. Who cares? Doesn't matter. At least that guy got 100 rupees. He's happy. He got some food to at least, okay? And I got that. Now tell me, what do you think he would have invested in for that thing? Somebody would say it might be stolen. There's a lot of other considerations that you got to think about. In a longer program, I tell people that, okay? So that's my tip for you for negotiation, time, information, power. I hope you found this interesting and useful.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for being so patient and listening to me. I hope
Thank
had a-
you.
Thank you, Amrut. That was
Thank you.
absolute wow. So I attended Amrut's program a few years back in 2016. Okay, he blew us, and the way we started thinking to our customers and clients was lot different than what we were doing before that. Thank you,
Just
Amrut, for
probably,
taking time.
thanks for a wonderful session. This probably should have been a 1 hour slot. we would have had much more information. Anyway, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amrit.
I do a 2 full day program on negotiation for your information. So 1 hour is just about scratching the surface. I think I scratched the surface of the surface here, but anyway, I hope it helped all of you guys. Thank you so much,
Definitely,
guys.
it definitely helped. It put in a orientation in the thought process, isn't it? It's not the same way it's going to be from now on. So people can now understand certain things and try to improve on that. That's our purpose of this program as well.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you so much,
very
Govind, for
Thank you,
calling me.
Amrit.
It was an absolute honor to come here and
Thank you.
Yeah,
The pleasure
It
is
was,
all.
it was quite gripping, sir. It was the subject was quite gripping. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Yeah,
information
Information
thank
was
you,
flowing
Nisha.
like Amrut.
I'll stop the recording.